I'm Congresswoman Norma Torres, and I represent the 35th Congressional District in California's Inland Empire. I am so proud to be here today with my Senator Alex Padilla to introduce the Basic Assistance for Students in College Act, also known as the BASIC Act. I am also proud to have introduced this legislation with then Senator Kamala Harris several years ago. Our bill would allocate significant funding and grants to colleges and universities, including community colleges, historically Black colleges and universities, Hispanic serving, minority serving institutions, tribal colleges. In other words, we're trying to help and support students that are suffering from food and housing insecurity. The BASIC Act would improve seamless data sharing across federal agencies. You know, we don't do that very well. Creating a one-stop shop for students seeking financial assistance like food stamps, WIC, childcare, or federal housing assistance that they need to get by. The fact is that there are millions of students facing housing and food insecurity while pursuing a higher education. Getting a degree is always a sacrifice, but for our kids, it shouldn't be going hungry or homeless to build a better future for us or themselves. We are better than that. America, we can do better than that. Hungry students or students spending time figuring out what couch they will crash on next can't possibly be focused on their studies when they're literally just trying to survive from one day to the next. Last month, I had the privilege of engaging with students from Mount San Antonio Community College. One incredible young man shared a very important story. In short, he shared that despite his over 1 hour long commute, assistance with gas and other daily necessities, financial assistance from initiatives like these basic grants are the only reason he has been able to continue his education. And that cannot be the norm. The current narrative must change, and we cannot talk about being the land of opportunity while our students studying for a better future literally go hungry. Our kids should have one goal, and one goal only: study and prepare for their exams and future vocations. Yet, instead of investing in our future, House Republicans are cutting funding for important health and education programs in the very committee that I sit on, the Appropriations Committee. One of the programs being targeted is the U.S. Department of Education's Basic Needs for Post-Secondary Students Program, or Basic Needs Grants, which is part of the BASIC Act, and a program that I helped create. A program that has already delivered over $29 million for students in 2021 alone. Our bill will help build a future so that our students from any background, regardless of their race or where their parents come from, can go to college and better themselves. Today, we will hear from students themselves who would benefit from the passage of the BASIC Act, and you will also hear from a local community college that has received basic needs grants in their effort to curb student hunger on their campus. Today, we are gathered together with the shared objective of safeguarding the well-being of our students and guaranteeing that the next generation receives the necessary support and resources that are rightfully theirs. Thank you again, and I'm going to turn it over to my Senator Alex Padilla.
Thank you, Congresswoman Torres, and thank you to all of you for joining us this morning or for tuning in for those participating remotely. It's an honor for me to be here alongside Congressmember Norma Torres. We've worked together for many, many years, going back to our days in the California State Legislature. We're proud to welcome Montgomery College President Jerm F Williams. Thank you for being here. Cal Poly Pomona CalFresh Ambassador Santana, who you'll be hearing from in a moment. Mark Hhman from the Hope Center, and Chaffey College students and faculty. Excuse me. We're gathered here today as students around the country are either about to go back to college or just went back to college in the last several days, couple of weeks. And I remember those days vividly, particularly when the first few weeks fly by and you're up on that first exam that you've been procrastinating studying for, or that first paper, essay that you have to submit that you're struggling to complete on time. But sadly, in this day and age, getting your work in on time, preparing for the tests, and keeping your GPA up is not the only thing that weighs on students' minds. For too many students whose families aren't able to just write another check to cover all the tuition or the rent, return to campus also means having to figure out, beyond just your class schedule, how to juggle that class schedule with a job, and how to get to and from your job. For many, it means worrying about how they're going to afford everything from meals to housing to health care. And for too many, it means having to sometimes choose or figure out, well, do I buy my textbooks first, or do I put gas in the car? Do I spring for that new laptop because my old one isn't working well anymore, or do I worry about tomorrow's lunch? And I think about my own experience, like I said, not just preparing for those exams, but coming from a lower income family, trying to piece together how I was going to pay for college. Not just through some scholarships and some grants, a lot of student loans, some work study, and yes, at times, I'm not ashamed to say it, even collecting cans and bottles to recycle for a few extra dollars at the end of the week or at the end of the month, whatever it took to get through. So today, we also recognize that the cost of a higher education is continuing to go up. Tuition is on the rise. Student loan debt is a worry for a lot of students. And so that's why I'm proud to stand with Congressmember Torres today to reintroduce the BASIC Act, because our commitment to young people is not just to make sure that we support them to get into a college or a university, but they can indeed succeed and thrive at a college and university. And why is that important? It's not just for students to do better. When students do better, those colleges and universities do better. When students do better, our economy will do better. When those students do better, their families and entire communities will do better. And so we're proud to reintroduce this bill by establishing a $1 billion competitive grant program. We know we can help the institutions meet the basic needs of their students, whether it's affording food, housing, transportation, the technology tools that are required in this day and age, health care, child care, and more. The good thing is we're not doing it as a one-size-fits-all either. We're providing the individual campuses the flexibility they need to design the plans that work best for them, with the special emphasis on community colleges and some of the other institutions that Congressmember Torres mentioned. So this is about lending that truly helping hand for students in need, about creating a student social safety net that sets students up for success, success for them, and success for all of us. So thank you again for being here today. It's now my honor to introduce our next speaker from the Cal Poly Pomona CalFresh Ambassadorship, Venicia Santana.
Hello, everyone. My name is Venicia Santana, and I am a student and care center employee at Cal Poly Pomona. I'm very honored to be speaking here in front of you all today for the re-announcement of this bill. I've been a CalFresh Outreach Ambassador for over 2 years now, and I've seen an overwhelming need from other students in areas such as affordable housing, food, and healthcare. Helping over hundreds of students per year apply for EBT has given me a lending ear to so many students' stories of their fear of homelessness and food insecurity. Senator Alex Padilla and Representative Norma Torres' Basic Act would provide college institutions to address the unmet basic needs of countless individuals. Achieving academic success should not be intervened with individuals worrying about when their next meal is or sleeping in cars. This cannot continue to be our reality. Secure housing, food, and affordable health care are basic human rights that should be provided to everyone in need, especially students. With the implementation of the Basic Act, individuals across the nation will be able to view the journey of receiving a degree as feasible. As a student who is currently pursuing a degree in nutrition, I quickly learned the importance of food as fuel. Maintaining focus and studying can be difficult when hungry. The reason why I became a CalFresh Outreach Ambassador was to help others who did not have the means to purchase enough groceries that consisted of whole, nutritious food for themselves. A student I have recently helped was facing these challenges. They recently got evicted and lost their job. They were referred over to the CPP Care Center and got rapidly rehoused, and I personally helped them apply for EBT. The student had come back and opened their letters from the county and thought that they were only receiving $17 in benefits. I quickly rethought everything I knew. The minimum amount anyone can receive is $23, so how was this student receiving less than the minimum amount? After rereading the letter, the student was actually receiving around $230 in SNAP EBT benefits. They went through all of this while still studying for tests, attending classes, and submitting homework on time. When receiving a great amount of help from one's university, students can truly be resilient. I'm lucky I attend an institution that has just a small portion of what the Basic Act could do across the nation for all universities, including my own. I believe with the passing of this bill, there will not only be an increase in college enrollment and graduation rates, but also a relief felt by numerous students facing these challenges daily. Thank you for your time. Next, we have Jasmine D.
Sorry, just a moment. Would it be okay if someone else started?
Yeah, sure. We'll go to the next person. Okay, I'll give you a minute. Sarah Davila from Chaffey College.
Yes. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Davila, and I am a faculty member and program director of the Public Health Program at Chaffey College, located in Rancho Cucamonga in Southern California. I stand before you today not just as an advocate for students, but as someone who has lived the very challenges we are here to address. At 23, I left an abusive marriage with nothing but my 2-year-old daughter and a single trash bag of belongings. No car, no cell phone, no money. I faced food and housing insecurity for that first year while enrolled in a community college, but I survived and eventually was able to get into HUD housing, transfer to a California State University, and make progress towards a better future. But what I want to make clear is, I didn't make it because overcoming adversity somehow made me stronger. I made it in spite of adversity, not because of it. We often glamorize overcoming obstacles as if they are a path to success. We see it in movies, the underdog rising from the ashes. We like to say adversity builds resilience and grit. But let me tell you, as someone who has faced incredible adversity, that narrative is misguided. Adversity isn't a badge of honor, it's trauma. Trauma that takes years of therapy to work through, trauma that stays with you. I didn't succeed because of my struggle. I succeeded because along the way I was given hope and support. Hope came in different forms. My family didn't have the means to help me financially, but their emotional support gave me hope. My academic mentors guided me through the labyrinth of higher education, providing me hope through informational and directional support. But even with these, I would not have made it without the federal grants, federal student loans, and HUD housing that gave me the instrumental support I needed to survive. These were lifelines that allowed me to keep going when I had nothing else. And while some may look at my story and say, she made it, so others can too, let's not overlook the cost. I made it, but with over $200,000 in student loan debt. I made it, but with deep trauma that I'm still processing to this day. And I'm reminded of this trauma every time one of my students comes into my office crying, unsure where they will sleep the next week, or sends me an email saying that they missed class because they were in court restraining an obtaining order against an abusive partner. I share my story with my students because I want them to have hope that they can make it too. But deep down, I feel conflicted, knowing that their success may come at the same psychological and financial cost. Today, we have an opportunity to change that. By providing basic needs supports to students, we can offer more than hope. We can offer stability. We can break the cycle of trauma that so many low-income American college students face. The BASIC Act isn't just about helping students graduate. It's about giving them a chance to succeed without leaving them with scars they'll carry for years to come. Let's be the ones to turn hope into action and action into change. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jasmine D. I am a student at Chaffey College in Southern California. If you would have told me a year ago that I would be here in our nation's capital sharing my story, I would not have believed you. Life has thrown me many surprises, some good and also some not so good. I never thought I would find myself sleeping in a car and wondering where my next meal was going to come from. As the daughter of immigrant parents, I knew I wanted more and that I was capable of more. I also knew that I wanted to help people. And then it hit me. If I was going to get myself out of a bad situation, I needed to take a leap of faith. I decided to get a college education and pursue a career in dental hygiene. That's where Chaffey College came into play. At Chaffey, not only am I able to get a quality education, but I have also been able to transform my entire living situation thanks to the programs and resources that have been made available to me. Through Chaffey's Center for Culture and Social Justice Department, programs like Panther Care offer food so that I don't go to class hungry. I also get access to clothes and feminine hygiene products, which adds to my confidence and self-esteem. Also, there are other programs like Rising Scholars and Emoja provide school supplies and laptops so that I get access to the materials I need to focus on my studies and less on my situation. Best of all, because of the amazing staff at Chaffey who care and took a genuine interest in me, I was able to get an on-campus job working in the Center for Culture and Social Justice, where I now get to help other students who face hardships as they pursue their academic goals. I am no longer living in my car, and I'm not worried about where my next meal is coming from. I'm no longer worried about basic needs such as food. Instead, I get to focus on completing my assignments and being a college student. My dream is to continue to help others by traveling to countries where there is a need and provide dental hygiene services to the people who cannot afford it. So in closing, I want to say thank you to the staff at Chaffey College for changing my life and allowing me the opportunity to complete my degree. And thank you to all the leaders who see the value in supporting programs that provide students like me with basic needs support. You are changing lives like mine. Thank you.
You're next, yeah. Dr. Jamie?
Yeah. All right. We're not going to have more technology issues because I have a background.
Paper, yes.
Just like ballots, paper ballots.
All right. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Jerm F Williams, president of Montgomery College in Maryland. Thank you, Congresswoman Torres and Senator Padilla. I am honored to be here with you today to speak on behalf of more than 45,000 diverse students we serve at Montgomery College in Maryland, as well as the 10 million students served at community colleges across the United States. At MC, much like at other community colleges, whether in rural, urban, or suburban areas, we seek to transform the lives of our students. Our mission is to unlock the potential of our students so they may access jobs with family-sustaining wages and fuel the talent pipeline our nation needs to grow stronger, while contributing to the public good as engaged residents. Our mission is often hampered by societal and institutional barriers our students must surmount just to obtain access to education, let alone be able to complete the education necessary to change the trajectory of their lives. It should go without saying, nonetheless, I will say it. It is terribly difficult to focus on studies if you are hungry or spending your nights trying to find a safe space for you and your family to sleep. And I mentioned family because about 20% of community college students in Maryland are student parents, 1 in 5. And yes, the reality of basic needs security is true even in Montgomery County, Maryland. Even in a wealthy county adjacent to our nation's capital, too many of our students struggle with hunger, housing, and access to transportation. 36% of our students experienced food insecurity in the past 30 days. More than 11,000 MC students visited our mobile markets, food pantries, and food lockers in academic year 2023, and more than 17,000 students visited those same spaces in academic year 2024. That is why I am here. I am so grateful for the Basic Needs for Post-Secondary Students program at the Department of Education. With a grant in FY21 from this program, Montgomery College launched our Social Resources program, a program to provide our student community with an equitable path to degree or credential and a good job with a family-sustaining wage. Well more than 30% of students use the Student Wellness Center services, and 83% indicated the primary reasons for using were access to campus food pantries, mobile markets, or community resources for food. That means MC students need resources and tools like the BASIC Act to provide services to enable our students to focus on the paper that's due next week instead of worrying about their next meal. To address these challenges, we use the Basic Needs for Post-Secondary Students grant to expand the Social Resource Program within the college's Student Wellness Center. Under this program, the Social Resources Program Coordinator and 2 Social Resources Program coaches engaged in one-on-one holistic case management. They assess and address the students' basic needs. The SRP team guides students in finding, applying, and utilizing community services focused primarily on food security and health services. Additionally, the SRP staff built a network of community-based providers to facilitate student access to these services and to support student advocacy. Clearly, thanks to these funds available under the Basic Needs for Post-Secondary Students grant, MC has been able to clear the hurdles to a smoother path to life-changing educational opportunities for many students. Again, I am honored to be here today. We are deeply grateful for your leadership. Thank you for your efforts to provide tools to enhance equity and help our students and the residents we seek to serve unlock their potential to transform lives.
Next, we'll introduce Mark Welsman at the Hope Center for Student Basic Needs.
Thank you, Representative Torres. Thank you, Senator Padilla. And thank you to Venicia and Jasmine and Sarah and Dr. Williams for sharing your perspectives. If those don't motivate us to do something about this, I don't know what will, honestly. I'm Mark Hillsman. I'm from the Hope Center for Student Basic Needs at Temple University. We're an organization focused on addressing the crisis of student basic needs and security across our country and campuses across our country, and ensuring that everyone looking to follow their dreams through higher education have the resources they need to succeed, and that certainly means meeting their basic needs. And we're here today because students and families across the country are facing immense challenges, not just with rising tuition, right, but the rising cost of everyday living, the rising cost of housing, the ability to put food on the table and a roof over their head, to pay for childcare, to cover health care and emergency expenses that crop up, to learn, to study, to focus, to be able to focus on that one thing, that one goal that you're looking for in your educational pathway, so we can remove all the burdens that students are facing so they can focus on those goals. We see this crisis through nationally representative data that shows that 1 in 4 students across the country are facing food insecurity, 1 in 4. The data that shows that undergraduate students across the country are facing food insecurity that's at higher rates than the general population, right? We think of students as this relatively privileged group of citizens that have their needs met and are getting parental support. We know that in just speaking with students, right, that's not true, but we also see that in the data. We see this crisis in a housing crisis that exists across our country, but that's rendered 1 in 12 students experiencing homelessness across our country, and it's rendering them unable to learn because they don't have a roof over their head. They don't know where they're going to sleep tomorrow or next month, or they have a precarious housing situation. it's a crisis that forces students experiencing depression, anxiety, and trauma to go it alone because their campus doesn't have the resources needed to help them. We see it in the eye-watering amount of student debt that was mentioned before, which at places like community colleges, right, is not necessarily taken out but for tuition, but just so students can meet rent next month, right, taking on debt just to make it so that they have a roof over their head. And we're here because, honestly, if we're serious about the American dream, if we're serious about notions of opportunity and we believe everyone should have the ability to follow a pathway towards success, it's time to put our investment where our values are. And I'm very, very excited to support the BASIC Act and that this is being reintroduced today. I'm really excited about the leadership shown today. The BASIC Act is a part of a strategy that just does just that, that shifts us away from the faulty assumptions that students have what they need, and it's just a matter of working hard and working your way through school. It's again, all you have to do is listen to the students, look at the data to know that's not true. But what the BASIC Act does is it starts to build the infrastructure so that our campuses across the country can address these challenges, right? Whether that's healthcare, whether that's food, whether that's housing, whether that's childcare, whether that's transportation, anything that's tripping students up, we can meet it through the right amount of investment and the right amount of political will. We love the Basic Needs for Post-Secondary Students program. It's this wonderful little engine that could program at the Department of Ed. It needs to be much larger, and that's what the BASIC Act would do. By putting $1 billion in this, it not only helps the institutions receiving that support, right? It helps institutions across the country understand what works, what might work for their student population. It helps us duplicate efforts across the country that we know are proven to meeting the needs of students where they are. It would be a lifeline to colleges that consistently get less state and federal support than their peers. We can equalize sort of the supports that the federal government often provides to wealthy institutions. And it makes it so that campuses can learn from each other. It would improve data sharing, which sounds really boring and dry, but honestly, it's super important that we finally ensure colleges, federal agencies, states, and others can connect students with benefits that they're often eligible for, but they're just not receiving due to red tape, administrative burden, and frankly, confusing rules that are often designed to lock students out. So I am very proud to be here to support this bill. We are going to work tooth and nail to make sure it passes, and I want to thank everyone here and everyone for their leadership on this issue. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much. I think Mark really woke us up with, he's so insightful with background and data. And I just want to, say in closing before we take questions that, this bill comes after numerous town hall meetings that we have hosted with students, college students. The stories that we have heard are incredible survivor stories that you can do it. You are incredibly resilient. We are very proud of you, but we know that we owe you this, and we are working towards making it better for you and the next generation. And now we're happy